Greetings, dear viewers on YouTube, Facebook, and Dailymotion, and welcome to my review of the Power Rangers Lightning Collection in Space Yellow Ranger. And this is one of the few figures from Power Rangers in Space that they Hasbro just now started doing. And eventually I will get my hands on the Psycho Rangers. But now I'm excited for Ashley because when I heard this figure was going to come out alongside the Mighty Morphin Black Ranger, Red Zeo, and Wingless Goldar, this was the figure I was been looking forward the most. And also this is my very first Yellow Ranger in the Lightning Collection line since, well, I will get Mighty Morphin Yellow next time. But for now, let's open up In Space Yellow, Ashley, and let's get started. And here we are with everything out of its box. And before I talk about the figure, I have to do a little pointing out to do on the package, because when I was about to start the review, now for anyone who will pick up the In Space Yellow Ranger in Wave 7, if you haven't Wave 6, if you haven't noticed the way how they did the helmet rendering of the Yellow Ranger, the rendering looks a little off, and it looks a little bit more like the Red Ranger's helmet, but for a Yellow Ranger. But oh well, but at least the actual product, the helmet looks just right and just as accurate as we was expecting. Okay, back to the review. Anyway, so now here we are with the Yellow Space Ranger, and with every single thing she has that came with her. First, I'm going to talk about her Starslinger. I really like the way how they did the Starslinger. Let me do the focus. I really like the way how they did the Starslinger weapon of hers, because we didn't get that with the Legacy figures from Bandai earlier, and I already brought up my In Space Yellow Ranger Legacy figure, although I haven't reviewed the Legacy collection figures for them just yet, but just do a comparison between the Legacy and the Lightning figures. Also, this is her Lightning piece for the Starslinger, where you can plug them into the joints, but I noticed that it can be a little difficult putting the joint pieces to plug into the Starslinger, which I've noticed from other reviewers who have reviewed this, and it's hard to, it's also easy to point out about that as well. And then this is how the piece will look when it just shoots out just like that, just to match the way how this is and how the Lightning piece will reflect it. Okay, next is her Astro Blaster. Her Astro Blaster is well painted, although on the Bandai Legacy figures, the way how Hasbro did the Astro Blasters for the Space Ranger, is a lot brighter as opposed to Bandai's version, where the blaster was a darker blue, but I see that they did a more lighter blue tint. But wait until when we get the Red Space Ranger and Astronomer 2-pack, and when I do a comparison, see if they got that right for Andros's blaster when that happens. And like with all Lightning Collection figures, interchangeable hands, and then the Karate Chop hand and the fist, ball fist. Last but not least, we got Ashley's head, which does capture the likeness of Tracy Lynn Cruz, her actress. And I would say it doesn't look as bad as I recalled it from the original product images when this figure was coming out alongside the following 3 figures from this wave. And I say it did encapsulate the look of the actress a little well, and the eye pupils fairly well as well. And I think her hair was this color, but it looks more like a caramel chocolate kind of darker blonde hair, I think. Because even though Ashley always had this color of hair, but if only if it was yeah, I think, well, in fact, she always had this color of hair on the show, so I liked the way how they did that. And now on to the main attraction, the figure itself. Let me raise the camera. Okay, so now you look at the Yellow Space Ranger, and it's not bad. It's not a bad recreation of the figure. Great articulation, and also this is the first major Ranger I have outside of Ranger Slayer to have a female body mold from Hasbro for the Lightning Collection. But though, when you have a female Ranger or soon-to-be female villain, some of the articulation points are limited, and also you can do some articulation with her, but though it's a little, my Yellow Ranger is a little stiff on the joints. Well, I can do this with the knee crunch, and also ankle pivot, just like with all the other Lightning Collection figures. Also, finally, at least we got a Yellow Ranger, and soon to be when I do get the other female Rangers, when they ever make the rest, that we actually, unlike the Bandai figures, now let's bring out the Legacy version of the Yellow Space Ranger. Now, I know I don't have the rest of the In-Space team from Bandai's Legacy line, but take a little, little quick rant about this. I did get the Yellow Space Ranger Legacy figure 3 years ago, and I got this from Toys R Us before Toys R Us closed it down in 2017. And this was a decent Yellow Space Ranger, although when we had the Legacy figures for the female Rangers, yes, people complained about the breast size being too big, and also the skirts. When you had the skirts from the Bandai figures for the female Rangers, you couldn't really do much movements with the legs, because the skirts were too molded onto, the waistline all the way down to the upper legs. And I also noticed that Bandai's Yellow Ranger in space had a much brighter yellow color, while I feel Hasbro's Yellow Ranger was a little just as right. And yeah, all this yellow is just too bright, even for the eyes. But I also noticed a little detail looking at the Lightning figure of In Space Yellow versus the Legacy one. If you notice this particular difference, there is actually gold around the V-neck to the suit, while the Bandai Legacy figure didn't have that. So, but when Bandai did it, it had, it was all yellow, especially for all the other Rangers. But at least I would say Hasbro got this just right, because this is the kind of color of the V-neck to the In-Space uniform, just like on the show. Also, you can, like I said about the skirt, you can do more articulation on the skirts, around the skirts. You can do all kinds of leg movements, unlike the Bandai one here. So forget that, you're done. So you can do all of that. Plus, like every other Lightning Collection figure, you can do all kinds of arm, turn the arms up and down and left and right, just to get a good glimpse of, the arm crunches right there. And also you can turn the heads well. And actually, this is an actually decent figure, and I know the light is getting to me because there's too much of that light all in my face. That's why I couldn't focus. Okay, now let's take a look at Ashley with her Astro Blaster in her hand before we go into the Starslinger. Okay, so this is how she looks with her posing with the gun and basically doing a badass girl power holding a gun pose. I just hope that when I get any Marvel Legends figures, any female Marvel Legends characters with weapons like this, I'll probably do a striking pose like this also. You can do all kinds of poses, with her holding a gun, especially like, whoops, or, I know this is very unprofessional of me to do this. You can also do this kind of pose, like, trying to imitate a James Bond movie poster, but gender bent. You can also point the gun forward, do this pose. If only if I had one of the figure stands to do that, though. Yeah, so there's that, and even though the left knee to her figure is hard to move and hard to bend. Okay, now let's put the Astro Blaster away and put it into the holster. And now let's look at Ashley holding her Starslinger. Because, man, if only if the Legacy figures for the In-Space Rangers came with their respective weapons. But, again, knowing Bandai, this is Hasbro's Power Rangers now. And looking at the Hasbro figures, at least they actually gave the Rangers all their weapons and actually painted them well with great detail as well. And now this is Ashley holding her Starslinger, even though this is not the right direction, but to pose it. But I can do what I can give and do what it take. I know I'm not even talking right because this light is all in my face. And take a look at that. That's her posing with the Starslinger, even though it's not the right pose, because on the box I should have posed it just like this, but oh well. But I don't got time to review. I don't want to waste time in doing it all unedited, and that's just being unprofessional of me now because I'm getting old and, you know, doing these reviews and knowing the fact I haven't been doing them as much lately. Even though the Lightning Collection line of Power Rangers is what got me back into doing Power Ranger toy collecting again, though. Okay, so let's okay, got that. And now let's take one more gander at Ashley with taking off her Ranger helmet. That was easy to take off. And then let's pop on Ashley's head onto the figure. Wow, it seems like you don't want to stick to the head joint, don't you? And then, okay, wow, it's a little harder than I thought for her, unlike the other figures. Okay, now this is how she looks with a Ranger suit on. And it doesn't look as bad compared to on the product images online and stuff and the promotional images, because I know that when we had the reveal of the In Space Yellow Ranger, you know, like this, you know, people had been, you know, fickle about how did they manage to make her head look like this, and you know, actually it's a good real life representation of what she looked like on the show and on old images and stuff from, you know, of the actors wearing the suit. And of course, you know, like all the other Ranger helmets, I can't seem to have the helmet seem to go underneath the armpit, because this was another thing that I had an issue with back when I did the Gold Zeo Ranger review. That, I mean, I got it right when I did the Mighty Morphin Red. Oh, okay, now I got it. Now, okay, I slightly got it. You know, having the helmet underneath her arm, and it looks okay, even though, because for the female, when I get future female Rangers in the Lightning Collection, when I have their helmets underneath their arms, they're going to be totally held differently compared to the men. But the women, the way how you have the helmets underneath the arms, you know, when they're holding them, just like how the actors would hold their Ranger helmets in their cast shots for the show. But basically, this is just more like having her hold her helmet like she's holding a motorcycle helmet. Then, but helmets are helmets, of course. But yeah, so this is a decent figure of the In Space Yellow Ranger. I hope they finish up the In Space team, because I've been excited. I've been looking forward to this team for this line of figures. Now that Mighty Morphin is complete and done and over with, we can get other Rangers now. And mainly collect mainly the Zordon era Rangers, since Ranger teams, like, of course, my favorite team, you know, after this is going to take a while to finish up. So now that I got In Space Yellow and the first major female Ranger in my collection of Lightning Collection Power Ranger toys, I'm ready to take on what's next to come with more of the figures for the female Rangers, even though it's going to take a while for me to get Mighty Morphin Yellow and Pink, since their figures are right now, at the time of this, is very expensive on Amazon and such, and eBay and from scalpers mainly. Now, the Legacy figure I liked for the time, but now I feel like the Lightning figure is a lot better. So let's do a standing comparison and how it fares. So basically, the Lightning figure is better, and Legacy, I mean, again, Bandai did an okay job on that with this. And then let's do a side-by-side comparison, and then another side-by-side comparison. And then the helmets. But I do say that, you know, the way how they did the helmets for, you know, the Yellow Ranger from Bandai versus Hasbro, I see that Bandai did a wider width of the helmet of the visor shape, while I say Hasbro kind of got it a little just right, while Bandai, they made it a little too big, and this was, again, being right. And then the color squares on the In Space suits, like the color squares on the Bandai ones look a little stitched out. This feels just about right and a little tacked on. So there you go, guys. That's my review on In Space Yellow. Can't wait until when I review the Psycho Rangers and when that Red Space Ranger Astronema 2-pack comes out. So let me know what you guys think of this review, and I'm off for now. I don't need these additional hands. Anyway, guys, thanks for watching. I'll see you guys next time.